Hello traders, welcome back to the Forex Boat Trading Academy. Today we will be presenting analysis on the Australian dollar versus United States dollar. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button not to miss any of the future videos. And before we get started, I would like to remind you that all the information in this video is for educational purpose only, should not be considered as a financial advice. What we have is the daily time frame on the Australian versus dollar. And this is obviously a long-term perspective where we can see around 1,200, 400 or even 700 pips upside move. This is a long-term perspective, guys. So yeah, there is a huge potential for the Australian versus the dollar. So let me just get to the fundamentals of as to why this can be possible. First off, the gold is very bullish long term. It just a matter when it will shoot up, because it simply shows the value of the dollar. The gold price stays itself constant. It just store of value. So while the dollar goes down, gold price increases. Well, in regards to the Australian dollar, it's the third largest mining country of gold, which means there is some sort of correlation, obviously, to the gold price. And if we say that the dollar is devaluating and gold will be rising, this could apply to the Australian versus dollar, which can go up also long term. Probably I would like to get to the gold chart we had previously. On the gold, guys, this is one of the scenarios that I did expect, and it's actually happened. This was the key support, and I said that the most probably buyers will be waiting for this sort of move and this sort of price around here, because this will be the ideal entry for the long run. So now we had this break below the trend line. We did test this support area, and this is obviously a very attractive buying price. So this is a long term, and gold could be rising not towards this level, but much higher towards the new all-time highs if we will hold this support. So there is a huge potential for the gold price if it holds this support. As I said, this is a very attractive price. Same applies to the Australian versus dollar. This is a very attractive price. Now let's get to the technicals here. I used the last wave to the upside to see the potential support, and we see that 61.8 fips at 0.7018 has been acting as the support, rejected twice. So we see the formation here of the double bottom. Price stays above the 200 exponential moving average. Now the average price uptrend trend line has been rejected here at this spot as well. Previous resistance is now the support for the second time, and now price approaching yet again this interesting demand zone. Another thing to consider is that we could have had the ABC corrective move to the downside, which means that there should be a next wave to the upside starting anytime. But what time? For that, I have used the Fibonacci cycles applied to this high and the low, basically this corrective move to the downside. What we see is that second cycle here already started. So this was the trigger point for the buyers. It could have. Now we see the consolidation, which might suggest that price just corrected back to the very same level, and I think this level is extremely attractive for buyers. Obviously, as long as the support holds and the daily price will hold 0.7000 psychological level. As long as this is the case, the trend should become strongly bullish for the Australian dollar. Now the next cycle we can see will be in December, 15th of December this year. So this could be a very fast uptrend, could be very fast. Basically 2 months of over 1,000 pip move. This is huge, and this is what I would expect. So all in all, we have these 3 resistance levels, and I have applied fips to this corrective move down, first correction after the price bottomed out, and we see here 961, 1061 and 1161.8 fips. These three levels are very important, and in many cases they tend to be the final upside target. Here we have these levels, and I have applied another fibs here, which shows that 361 corresponds to 1061.8 fibs. So this could be the key resistance, which is at 0.8457. And if we just calculate how much it's gonna take, this is 1,400 pips move for the Australian versus dollar. This is huge, obviously long term. And what is interesting about this is that the key support is very close compared to the upside target, and this potential upside move. The risk to reward ratio is amazing. And this is why this opportunity could be interesting for buyers, extremely interesting. I think in the worst case, there could be a spike. We could retest the moving average, but as long as the daily and probably even weekly close, both of them must remain above 0.7 psychological support. As long as this is the case, I would expect this massive move to the upside. Okay, quickly back to gold. So we here have this correction, which obviously should provide an interesting opportunity along with the Australian dollar and the Swiss franc as well. Swiss franc should be getting stronger because from this point onwards, gold could be moving up, and we know the correlation of the Swiss franc to the gold, positive correlation. Now, if we look at the silver, actually it had this strong move to the downside. I think it will be important to see the weekly close because this also will be a long term. This correction, I think, also providing an opportunity. So I would not invalidate this. I will still wait and see what happens. The key support is at 22.58. I think, yet again, in the worst case, price will retest it, but if we just apply simple fibs, we can see that the price tested 61.8 fibs today. Again, a very important support, good correction, and we will need to see if there will be a close above, especially on the daily time frame. If on 4-hour and daily time frame above this level, yet again a very good opportunity for the silver. I think even better than on the gold and Australian dollar. This thing could just skyrocket as long as we hold this support, but this is all long term. Now let's move to the other analysis, starting with the euro Canadian dollar. So we had this move to the upside. This is I think the Canadian dollar is driving because it's weak due to oil prices struggling, and I think they will continue to struggle in the long run. So here, valid analysis, still waiting. Ethereum, still valid. As long as this support holds, I would expect price to continue rising. There were no clear indications that it is a reversal to the downside. So still looking at the support. It could be that Ethereum will retest it and could provide spikes below. And it will be important to see the daily closing price. If it stays above 360, then it still will be bullish. Euro pound, still valid analysis. We can see there kind of triple bottom formation near 0.9 psychological level, and yet these analyses remain valid. Canadian Swiss franc, it's starting to move down, and this just shows that investors are choosing the Swiss franc, and along with the Canadian dollar weakness, this should be a very strong move to the downside. So one of the strongest downtrends I would expect from Canadian Swiss franc. S&P 500, this just goes ballistic. I mean, this is so fast, and this is only the first support. If it gets broken, we will see gold probably skyrocketing. Yeah, it seems like the downtrend has started, and this could be massive. I mean, this could be worse than we had here, much worse, if this support is broken. So S&P 500 could be really under pressure. The euro Swiss franc, as expected, guys, starting to move down because of the Swiss franc strength and the gold expected strength. We did hold this resistance and price starting to move up. So I will just adjust the line. So here is what is expected still. very interesting potential downtrend on this. Pound versus Swiss franc. Well, here, this is the worst case scenario in case of the downtrend that I did expect is the retest of these trend lines, and price did retest them. And due to the, again, Swiss franc strength, I think this move will now begin to the downside. So all in all, this resistance hasn't been broken. There was a spike, okay? There was another spike above this spike, but no closing price above. So this is still, this resistance even remains valid along with the simple moving average. So both of them do hold, and still a very bearish outlook for this pair. Canadian Japanese yen. Here we have reached the previous low, and also a very nice decline after this clean rejection. So almost testing the support, yet a little bit to go. I think it will be tested soon, but remains obviously valid analysis. And finally, we had today Australian versus dollar. This will be a long term, and we will be following that. I'm pretty interested as to how far the Australian dollar can go as long as current support holds. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, still you're watching it, why just don't click the subscribe button and be notified with all the new videos that we're posting daily. And if you enjoyed it, of course, click the like button. It just takes 2 seconds, and this way you will support the channel. And of course, I would really appreciate this kind of support. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all tomorrow with yet another analysis. Take care, guys. Profits to you.